Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
What's up? I think we lost all of our early followers. Sorry for the time.
Shout out to those early followers. First in continuity.
I know, yeah. I gotta highlight those because that was awesome. So yeah, so we got Carlito calling out first, Varangian calling out true first, Man Cave first in continuity.
Unruly should have went with first.
It's like a Harley Quinn first appearance. Let's see. I don't know who's still here, but we got Unruly popped in. Varangian, yeah. We got a couple people. I have received crowdfunded books faster than this. Sorry, man. Ben Compton's here. Right on. Puff Comics 83. Hey, man, great stream this morning. It was good stuff. I like that guy. Was it Tim?
Lottie.
Yeah, Tim Lottie.
Yeah.
What's this? I shall recognize me. That makes sense. I don't think there was anybody before you, Unruly.
Unruly's on the ball whenever I'm doing live shows or anything. He's on the ball. He shows up promptly, he hangs out, and he contributes every single time. It's good.
I have the hardest time, number one, like making sure I know when people are going live, and then being able to actually be there during the live stream. So I catch 90% of everybody's stuff like in the post.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate because I like to be in the chat and comment on things and be part of the conversation, but sometimes it's just impossible. So I respect the difficulty.
Yeah, I've been having trouble lately with just my schedule and life, how it is catching a lot of live shows. I usually try to catch a lot, but lately I've been missing them. So I've just been on the shows that I'm on, and that's it. And I've been watching stuff in replays, but it's not the same.
Oh, I get it. I very much get it. So let's talk about why we're here. Those of you who are watching are aware that comic book sales have been in the ridiculous numbers this last year. But even before then, ways that many of us were able to either upgrade a book or get into some books that we didn't normally be able to afford. We flip books, right? And there's no shame in that, but there are others that will shame us, and that's okay. And they have called us dirty flippers, and I want to throw a shout out to D. Runk, who was not able to make it onto this show, for coining the phrase. The first time I heard it was on it was JP's Budget Collecting. D. Runk called him out. Yeah.
I believe he called him a dirty flipper.
Yeah, it was a dirty flipper. Yeah, but we wanted to keep the show a little clean. I'm a dirty flipper, and I'm proud of it. As I would assume that most of the people joining the show over the course of time that we run the show would agree and attest to it. We try to get more guests on, but the timing didn't necessarily work out for some. But this is intended to be happening more often as people get stuff in. I know that there was 2 or 3 people that wanted to be here, but their schedules conflicted. And we may get some more people dropping in. Some people were away from home at this current time, but if they pop in, we're definitely going to be able to give them some screen time. But anyway, thank you all for showing up, all 7 of you. And everybody else who watches this in the post or shows up later. We just want to talk about books that we haven't necessarily been speculating on, but books that we know are currently moving in the market, or books that we've picked up that we feel, based on trends, have been going up and moving up into higher regions where we feel that as an investment or a short-term hold, it was a good idea to pass it along. So without further ado, I'm going to kick this over to Will. So Will, tell everybody, what have you been working on? What books have you been moving? Or are you planning?
Well, right now, like a lot of people, most of my books, I'm waiting on them to get back from being graded, and that's a real pain.
Yeah,
But
that's a continuous sentiment.
yeah, I just got back a few books like a week ago, and one of them I just put back to sell for later because I didn't think it would be worth it to sell now. And it's a 8.5 of Superman Adventures #5. It's the first live wire. You think, okay, that's not all that great. Well, it's not. But this one happens to be a newsstand. And
Oh, wow.
newsstand is pretty rare for the children's books, especially in the mid to late 90s, which Superman Adventures 5 would qualify as a mid 90s book. I believe it came out in 96. So that's actually pretty rare to find a newsstand. So I don't think it's worth it now based on what I paid to get it all done and slabbed and everything. So I put it to the side. But this one I just sold for more than I thought it would be on eBay. I was hoping to get like $120 out of it because this thing, this to me is a $150 book in a 9.8. It's not, but that's what it should be to me because that's what it was for forever. Now it's pushing like $700. So this is an 8.5.
Wow.
And someone on eBay bought it for $158 plus shipping.
Wow.
And that blew my mind. Because
and that's great for that grade too, but I'm still tripping on the idea that $700 for a 9.8.
Yeah, me too, man. It's weird. I mean, I think the fact that it was a newsstand really helped me out on the sale.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of people just think newsstand, but that's over there's that threshold where newsstand becomes rarer than direct. And
about 85, 84, 85 is where it starts becoming more rare. And this time, this is 1988.
Yeah.
These things were 30% of the market.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot rarer to get one of these than, say, the Wolverine #1 from 82, the limited series. That one was 82. It was basically the same percentage, but reversed. So 30% direct versus 70% newsstand.
So I got to ask, Sean, did you buy that one or did you already have one?
No, I don't think he bought this one unless he moved to Georgia.
Yeah, no. I'd be definitely be going to Florida at that point.
Anyway, and then talking about flipping books, and sometimes I think the reason people hate the us dirty flippers is because we can spot a deal and sniff it out and then be able to flip it and make money, and the other people didn't catch the deal. For example, King of the Golden State, like a year ago, was selling a box of books, and in it he had the Middleton variant of Batman or Batgirl 23. You know, that white background with this beautiful variant?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was in there along with like 49 other books. And I got to buy that for I think it was like $75 shipped. I got 50 books, that was included. I recently got it back. It's a
nice.
Because they were able to get the schmutz off that was right here on the cover and the bin that was in it out. So this is now like a $200 book that I'm trying to sell for $185 shipped because of what I paid for it, you know. So I've got a lot of room in it, and it came back at 9.8. I'm very happy with this.
Anybody watching this show, feel free to hit any of us up on Instagram. If you see a book that we've got that we're talking about moving and you like the price or you want to make a deal, feel free to hit us all up, right? We're all available anytime. But that is a great grab. Will, I mean, getting that back in the 9.8, that's fantastic. And that book is loved, right? I have it in the 9.8. I love that book. That is my favorite of the Middleton covers.
I just love the fact that it was in a box that everyone on the auction saw with 49 other books, but I got it and turned it into a 9.8. So, I mean, hey, you gotta be on it sometimes. And there are plenty of times where I've had to skip over stuff because I didn't have the cash.
Right.
You know,
and this comment, let me pause you a second, Will. This comment from Varanga Vigilante is absolutely the entire what we're talking about, right? A little bit of research, somebody could fund his hobby just buying books for cover price. I mean, you could have picked up this book for cover price, right? This is the local comic shop day edition, right? This is almost $200 in a 9.8.
Yes.
You know, it's ridiculous. I mean, and don't get me started on the actual #1. I mean, that book is sky high. It is in the stratosphere. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about the stuff that we're able to get cover price off the rack, and being able to spot those 9.8 candidates, right, is also a key component, right? Knowing what you're looking at.
The last thing, but before I hand it over to DS, I want to show is letter D is the Middleton book. I only paid basically $25 for it, 30 cents for the bag and board. Press and clean and fast pass for both was $50. And you can see there's the Batgirl Middleton 23. So that's all I have in it.
Yeah.
So you're in it for 75 right now. 75.
Basically, yeah. That's what I put in it. Because some of the books in that 49 or 50 were nothing. So I just basically divvied it up and said, okay, 25 of it I will put onto this book. And so, yeah, I got like 75 in it, and that's pretty much it.
So VB says, I got my Savage Tales #1 for a $50 investment on modern spec books. Right. So if we're talking Savage Tales, the magazine, or we're talking Savage Tales #1, the Red Sonja book, right? Because I know I picked up Savage Tales #1 last year at a 9.0, and that book has gone up 3 or 4 times what I paid for it, market value, just from like last November, I want to say. Crazy stuff. Yeah. There you go. Unruly paid $45 for Something That's Killing the Children #1,
nice.
9.8. All right, and that's the value. I think that's the value of. And Unruly, do me a favor, put that in the chat where you got that from, because I know that there's a site that you and Kavi are both doing 9.8 pre-orders. I think it's Slab Heroes, I want to say. But I know that those guys, they hit them up, Slab Heroes, they get 9.8s. Obviously now, I mean, that is a different game. I was doing that before. I was, pre-selling 9.8s on eBay, and, because I could get them back in 30 days. Yeah, definitely Slab Heroes. I could get them back in 30 days, right? And then, it wasn't a big deal. But I can't, when the Gleasons came out was when that market turned on me, where like I wasn't getting them for 3 months, and then just a whole hassle with the sales fell off the eBay screen, so I couldn't even ship them through eBay anymore. The returns, if some of them came back damaged, some of them came back a lower grade. It was just a nightmare trying to get a hold of find the shipping information, get a hold of the buyer, and change refund them or do anything. Just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. So like eBay, that became impossible for me to do. So Slab Heroes is the only way. I mean, they've got their own site set up, and I think they're still doing it, but obviously they have to put in some significant delays or switch to CBCS.
Yeah, I have been doing a few videos on updating on the turnaround times as they change. As of yesterday, the modern tier for CGC is 105 business days, and the same tier for CBCS is 17 weeks.
So the CGC is 21 weeks versus 17 for CBCS. Yeah.
So now that it's starting to.
Yeah, it is.
But CGC was 144 days not that long ago.
It was
I know that if somebody can pull it up and check what it is, I sent in books, and I'm gonna give out this hack for
you as of yesterday.
As of yesterday, yeah. So I sent in a package for standard order, right? Standard. What was it? Standard tier, and the books were checked in. Now I'm gonna have to pull this up. The books got checked in at CGC, and then they went straight to scheduled for grading, and they just got shipped. And this was not the normal turnaround time that has been identified. So they were checked in, they were received 7/8. So July 8th, they were received, they were shipped on the 22nd. And the current turnaround time on a standard tier is still 91 days. So I don't think that what they're putting out there is exactly accurate, right? So that's something that you gotta really take. Look, you know what? Who dat? You were supposed to be on here, so I don't want to hear it.
I also had mentioned that as of yesterday, CGC is opening things that came in the week of May 17th, and CBCS is now 3 to 4 weeks behind on opening their packages. I don't know for sure yet if their move to 17 weeks is to include that or if it's in addition to. Like with CGC, it's some people are saying it's in addition to, but I don't know.
Well, it's going to be an issue for everybody. So as CGC's wait times increased exponentially, people did start sending stuff to CBCS. I have 10 books that I'm getting prepared to send to CBCS on a 2-day because I don't want to wait around for them. I want to catch the market right now. And even though the 2 days probably going to still take 2 weeks to get there and back and through all that, I'm less concerned.
Is that not awesome though? I love that 2-day modern option because when Stray Dogs got hot, I happened to have bought and bagged and boarded the Silence of the Lambs variant and the standard cover. Well, once it popped up on Tom's list and I saw the price, I just packed it up for the 2-day modern, spent $36 to get them both graded, and they came back. One was a 9.6. I sold it for $200. One was a 9.8. I sold it for $300.
Mm-hmm.
I love the 2-day modern option.
Absolutely. And who dat? We all want to say happy birthday to your mom and thank you for bringing us you. So we're just going to put that out there. Yeah, no, he was invited. He got the link. Here's a good comment from Los, and there's another one here that I want to go over from Big O from earlier. But remember, you don't always have to get books at a comic shop. Always look for other places that sell books. Gaming stores are a good place. They usually don't advertise they have comics, but most do. So that's definitely some place where you can start finding those. And then Big O is asking if we all still use eBay or is Whatnot the way to go? Any outlet that you can buy books at that is, that the stuff is going on is a good place to do it. Whatnot is a great opportunity right now because it's not well known. Not a lot of people, there's not a lot of comic vendors on there, but there's a lot of comic vendors that are trying to, push and get the following and stuff like that. And they're letting stuff go that's going to go for under the value. It's really, it's going to be an opportunity,
he says he didn't get it. Send him the link.
Who
dat?
It's in the Instagram chat.
I don't know if he can do it from Instagram. Do you have his email? I can send it to you.
Can you copy it out and forward it to him?
Oh, well, if I can do it, yeah, I'll just do it right now.
Yeah, just go ahead and do that.
All right.
And then Los, whenever you want to show up, brother. But yeah, so let's see some more books. DS, what have you got going on?
Yeah, so let me give you just a quick overview of my dirty flipping strategy, and I'll show you a few books. But yeah, I don't do. There's a lot of modern stuff that depends on timing, and I try not to flip time-sensitive stuff. I'm looking for stuff with just going intrinsic value, and it doesn't matter. The turnaround times don't affect how much I can make on my books. I don't deal with moderns. For one thing, I'm too old. I can't keep up with that pace. I don't know how these guys do it. Good for them. I wish I could. I just can't. So I'm not dealing with, for the most part, movie spec variants for, all this modern stuff. That game is too fast paced for me. It's very time sensitive. So a lot of complaints about turnaround times from that crowd, whereas not from me. I mean, I don't like the turnaround times. I just won't send any books in for a minute and see what happens. And I'm fine because my books have intrinsic value. That's sort of a going value. It doesn't depend on very specific, sensitive market issues.
And that's another side, right? Because you're going to be going after a higher tier in most cases, right? Except for economy, which is just ridiculous right now, right? That's the longest one. But so if you're moving like Bronze Age books or something like that, it's going to be more in the economy tier rather than if you're sending in like, an Avengers #1, right? Which is going to go walk through.
Yeah, I mean, usually when I buy raw books, I just buy whatever is a good deal to flip. But I'll tell you, there's like 3 categories I do. But I basically have a stack of books, and I have like the higher end stuff that's going to be the upper tiers, and I put that stack. And then I have a stack of like 75 and up, lower value but nice keys. and then I have the middle of the range stuff that's like $400 to $600 stuff. And basically, when the stack hits 15 books tall, I send it in. And sometimes that happens quick. Sometimes it takes longer. Depends on what I pick up. But basically, I have like those different stacks. And when the stack gets to about 15 books, I send a submission in. So I'm not really worried about how much time it takes for those stacks to get up. And sometimes the first book in that stack won't get graded for a long time. But it's books that have value because of what they are. And it has nothing to do with changes going on in the market right now. So let me show you an example of some of the stuff I pick up. And I'll look. I don't search in the wild very much. I do most everything from home, but I'll look at eBay, Instagram, my comic shop, and auction sites and stuff. And then when I'm out and about, I'll check out some stuff. And I've picked up some stuff, but I'm not one of these guys that goes bin diving 3 times a week all over the place. I'm not that guy. But here's some stuff I've got, like this book here. This First Star Jammers. This book sells pretty good in really all grades, but this one I found like 3 or 4 of these. They seem to get underpriced a lot on eBay. I think a lot of sellers don't necessarily know how valuable the book is, even though they know it's a key. So I think I picked this up for like, I don't know, like $90, I think, all in on it, and it's probably like an 8.5. It might be a 9.0. It's a pretty nice copy. So, this is a probably $300 book after it gets slabbed. This one I actually won on Instagram from Blackjack. I don't know why. It's not really. It's a flip book, but I just got lucky with Flip Mode Comics, and it was $4.50 or free. Play a hand of Blackjack, and I was like, all right, I'll do it, and I won it. So that's in the stack. Found this on eBay.
Interesting way to get a book.
Yeah, hey, I mean, if the worst case scenario is I paid fair market value for it, but the upside was free money. Newsstand 340. This is a 9.4 range. I picked this up on eBay for like $100. I picked this up on eBay. This is probably a 9.2 range. Got this on eBay for, I don't know, $60 maybe. This one I bought slabbed, but the slab was cracked. So it was a 9.0 old slab, white pages, cracked slab. So I bought it. I got a discount on it. So I got this for like 800 and change. Yeah, there it is. This is a great book, man. It's going up.
It totally is. It totally is. I'm going to segue for a second. So I got this off of Daymares, who needed some cash. And I got this book, and I looked it over, and I'm like, I can upgrade this.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of cleaning, there's some pressing. I think I can get a 9.2 to 9.4 out of this book. So this one's going to get cracked and go back out. Yeah, because that's a long-term hold for me. I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling any Sabretooth until they announce Wolverine.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to sell this, but I cracked it out, and it needs to be cleaned and pressed, and I think I can bump it a little bit. But CPR is kind of a crapshoot these days, but whatever.
Yeah.
These are surprisingly good books if you find like a 9.8 copy. They're dirt cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And 9.8 slab copies of these Marvel Milestone editions sell really well. So I'm into this for like $10. This is a 9.8 candidate, and that'll be well over 100 in 9.8.
You know why those are selling so hot?
I don't know. They're hard to find.
The first reprint of those books.
Oh, nice. Okay.
In full.
Yeah, they're super cool too. They got the silver border.
Oh, they are.
And
are they? I thought Golden Record would be the first for like AF-15 and all that.
Well, those are the ones that were done in the 60s. Yeah. So like for the handful, what was it? Spider-Man 1, Journey into Mystery 83, and a couple of others, FF1. Those are the only, I mean, there was only, I think, 3 or 4 Golden Record reprints. But, in terms of a mass market, like, book on its own that wasn't, part of a set, that's the one, because they did a whole series of those.
Yeah, and Unruly's saying he can't believe the Milestones fetch any money. Yeah, nobody can believe it. That's why I'm saying it's really tough to find a high grade like 9.8 candidate copies. These both possibly could be 9.8s. In 9.8, if you go look at 9.8 sales on these, they sell well over $100, man. They're not cheap. So if you research it and you find that, you can score these. Now you have to search around, but these are, on eBay, there's probably tons of these, and I looked through them all the time, and I found one I thought maybe would be a 9.8, and I think $15 maybe for this thing. I don't know. It's not that much.
Crazy.
Books like this are great. nothing huge, but 150 bucks and 9.8. These are nice high grade copies. So
I had
more.
Yeah, I had an opportunity at 361, 2, and 3, and that's 315 and 16, right?
Yeah, well, I had a 361. I already sent in. I got a 7.5. It wasn't a high grade.
Yeah.
So I have the 62 and 63 here still. Those are higher grade. They're 9.6, 9.8 range.
Yeah. So I had an opportunity to set for those, but it was just like I'm like the return. They may not get high enough grade, so I passed because they wanted a lot for it. Because of course.
Yeah, that's why I like to let my stack build up to like 15, because if you buy a book for 15 bucks and you pay 30 bucks to get it graded, and then the shipping, and then you sell for 150, that's not that much profit. But if you multiply that profit by 15 or 20 books,
oh sure,
all in one stack that comes back, now it becomes worth it. This one is First Beyonder in recognizable human form, a little bit more of a deeper long-term spec by me, which I don't normally do. But I bought a whole stack of these for cheap, so I just have like 8 copies.
Yeah, hey, I just looked up on GPA the 9.8 price for the milestone AF-15.
Yeah, what is it?
Last year only 4 sold, and it ranged from $147 on the low end to $220.
Yeah, that's what I'm
this
saying.
year, only 2 have sold. One was $150, the other was $200.
$200. That's what I'm saying. I bought those for like 30 bucks for both, and yeah, I maybe get 9.8s on both of them, and I'll get $400 out of the deal.
Exactly.
That's a huge return, and those will just be in a stack I'll send in. So yeah, you want to hear? I have 3 categories. Basically, I do, and then I'll give it back to you.
All right, one second. We got to pop in here. We got to pop in to say hello.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
How's the beach?
There you go. There you go. Nice day today. We decided to hang out with the family and just, come over. But I was hoping to make it back, but we stayed here for a little longer than I thought. But
no, man, you're having a lot more fun than we are.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop on and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I love, it's funny all the negativity that flippers get for some reason. Again, I think it's more, what you guys were talking about earlier is like, it's one of those things where they weren't able to jump on something early enough before it like popped off. So they're like, you get that little, oh damn, I can't believe I missed it or whatever. It's like, hey, it is what it is, right? It's the game. If you're able to jump on some stuff beforehand and you're able to flip it for more, that's what it is, right? I mean, if you can't do it, then you can't really complain about it, right? And if you don't feel like paying the prices, then don't pay for it. Like, don't buy it, But
absolutely,
it's just funny. It's funny.
Cool. Well, you go have fun with the family, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, all right? We'll get you on next time.
Later on, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I hear you, man. So big question is, what are you going to do with the money?
Well, the money, I usually just reinvest all of it into new stuff. That's what I do. And sometimes I pull a little bit out for spending money, just bills or buying something or whatever. But ideally, my goal is to have as close to 100% of the money rolled back in. It's sort of like a dividend reinvestment. You get your money, you roll it back in, you make more, you get more. It snowballs. And I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now, and it's snowballed pretty good. And I don't put any outside money into this hobby over the last 5 or 6 years. And I've got a lot of high-end inventory and just a lot of money coming in on it. And it starts out slow, but if you stick with it, it snowballs, and eventually you can get bigger and bigger books, and you can make more on bigger books, and you don't have to go as crazy buying small stuff. You can just buy a couple big books, and even a small percentage on a big book is a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
sure about that tipping point now of that.
Yeah, and I want to come back to you on that about like where we're putting the money, right, and what like for long-term and short-term holds, because I know that you have done an incredible job with that, and that is definitely one of the reasons why I have so much respect for you in this game, because like you roll that stuff into big shit.
I mean, I take a lot of risk, and it doesn't always work out, but it has been getting better over time. Yeah, so I appreciate that. I'll show you some stuff here when we come back to me.
Absolutely. So I've got a few things that I've been thinking. So I'm hooked into an LCS. I do a lot of work for him on the side. So I do have my nose a little bit attuned to it, but not always, a lot. But when some stuff comes up, like, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, I hear something or whatever, and I, you know, he gets like an order or something in, but, you know, so you get, you know, like these, right? Nice House on the Lake, #1, right? These are popping pretty hard. So that's the B cover and the A cover. So a couple of those to send out. Did get a second print of Berserker #1 that I had to press. He had a handful of damages, so I found one of the nicer ones that I could press that's, you know, likely to get a 9/8. So, you know, gonna throw that out there. We Live #1, right? That book's popping. And this is just like the modern stuff, right, that I've come across, you know. Department of Truth #1, right? That one's
Dude, I sold that too early. I sold that way too early.
Yeah.
I've never had any of these books, but I see them, and when I recognize the book, that means it's definitely hot, because otherwise I would have no idea what these are.
Right?
Yeah.
I found these when they came out, right? And I've just been holding on to them. I've been waiting for that.
Gary mentioned he's got a ton of those, and he's just holding on to them.
Yeah, and this was the one shot that was part of the War of the Realms kickoff, and then this is the first issue of the ongoing series, and I think this one's got a couple of first appearances in it too. But so these books have just been getting bigger and bigger, and I know that there's potential. That's one of the nice things with Marvel, like with some of the newer stuff, that the new generation, they're really starting to kind of build up those TV show palettes with you know, Miss Marvel, and with I think Silk. You know, they might have something planned for that as well. So those are some decent ones. And then I showed this earlier, that Something's Killing the Children. That's the local comic shop day. This is up, you know, 100 or 2.
Yeah.
This one was hot for a minute. I want to say this is like the 7th printing. 8th printing. Yeah. And this came out with Berserker. But then I got this because it's just an awesome Jenny Frison cover. So I picked up a couple of copies, right? So I'll hold one, you know, I'll put it with the #1 I've got. And then the other 2 will probably go.
So
do you guys know if these are doing anything anymore, or is this like a flash in the pan? This is the Batman.
Yeah, the Fortnite code.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before.
I have no idea, man.
Okay, fair enough. You're probably the wrong person. That'd be
yeah.
a who dat question, I think.
Yeah, I know he doesn't because of the kind of books he buys. But
right,
Jimmy, how do you go about finding books? Do you like look through previews or see what's going to be released, or do you just keep your ear out and try and get stuff?
You know, honestly, it's community, right? It's watching the shows on YouTube. It's following the trends, you know, like hearing about certain things. Like there's some stuff that's out there that's, you know, that's getting picked up, you know, like Old Guard, right? Old Guard was probably one of those ones that was like, it was kind of weak, right? It was a great movie and it was a solid series, but it didn't get the same kind of steam that something like Something's Killing the Children did, you know, and like I missed out on Something's Killing the Children. Right, I saw it when it came out. I loved that Jenny Frison cover, but I never, you know, like I can't go and buy every single #1 that comes out from Image Comics. Right, it's just ridiculous. There's way too many.
I ask because what I've been doing is I look through the previews and figure out 12 books max, and just have my LCS order them, and then I bag them, board them, and put them in the long box, and just wait and see what happens. I've got $5 in them. Like the Stray Dogs, great example. And then I know what they're selling for. I know what tier I can pay to get them graded in a timely manner, rather than just throwing everything out there, getting it graded, and then half of it being a waste of money.
True. Yeah. And like I do the same thing. I have a short box of stuff that I would just pick up. You know, there was things like Venom First Host #1 that they went nowhere, you know, but I got a couple of copies of that, and some other stuff that, you know, that just, you know, winds up, I don't know, like back into a thank you package or something like that.
Yeah,
because
that's why I stopped picking up collections that are more than like a half of a short box, because what happens is you get the keys, you make a ton of money on them, and then you're left with 80% of what was in the collection just taking up space. And I don't have the motivation to put in effort to move stuff and ship stuff and market it I just can't do it. So I end up having stuff that just takes up space. And that's why I don't buy bigger collections anymore. I'll buy like really, really small collections if it's worth it, and that's it.
The 40 for 40 for box, or the old cheapo box, man. That's how I got rid of it.
Yeah, I know. I thought about doing that. I just don't have the. I don't know. It's just not me. I can't. I'm too lazy to put in the effort to create boxes and ship them out and all that.
A couple times, DS, I just said, "Hey, I'll sell you 1,000 books for $800 if you'll pay the shipping." Someone took me up on that, and I set out UPS like long boxes and just set them out that way.
Yeah, I usually give them away by the box for cheap to a dealer or two that I know that does like local cons. I'll hit them up and I'm like, "You coming to this one?" And he'll be like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I got a box of you. I don't know what's in it, but I got a box for you, $30 for the whole box." And I have no idea what's in it. It's just, I don't know. It's inventory for him because he does cons. I don't, and I just like dealing with smaller amounts. I'm very minimalist.
So I got a question for the both of you then. What is the end game you're trying to get to? Or are you playing in it now? Because like me, I'm starting small, flipping to eventually my goal is to be more like DS and be a comic investor, where there's books that I have and then I sell them at an appropriate time, whatever I deem, and then I keep some money and then have some money going back, and eventually just be like an investor of comics. That's what I'm wanting to get to, starting flipping now and then get to that point. What about you guys?
I'll let you go next.
All right. Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of people give me shit about like being a dirty flipper and you don't love the books, you don't keep them, you're just in it for the money. It's not that. Look, I'm in it for the money, but there's a lot of things you can be in for the money. I'm in this for the money rather than other stuff because I friggin' absolutely love comics. I am so passionate about comics. I love all comics. Every comic goes through my hand I'm passionate about. And I have a lot of books that go through my hands. Some I keep longer than others. Some I plan to keep for a much longer time than others. And yeah, if you're going to do something for money, do something that you love for money. And I started getting back into comics, and I've always loved comics. And it was never about the money until I figured out you could make money at it. So now I'm enjoying comics with the added benefit of being able to profit off it. And, I treat it like the stock market, but it's far more fun. Like you invest in the stock market. And there are some stocks I own, like Apple stock. I freaking love Apple. Like there's something about that stock and that company, like from an investment standpoint, it's just so fun to own that. And comics is like that times a million for the passion. And yeah, there are some books I really like investing in more than other books, and some I keep longer. But yes, I'm investing in it for money. It's like a portfolio, but it's a portfolio of art that I absolutely love. So there's no lack of passion from me. But yeah, I mean, I am doing it for the money too at this point. So what's wrong with that? I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it, because you know what I do with the money? I put it back into bigger pieces of art that I love. And then some of the people who just buy and hold forever and they do it for the love and not for the money and give me crap about it. I have, a couple books could buy their whole collection. Some of their grails I've got multiples of. And it's not like I'm trying to show them, show up anybody, but by doing what I'm doing, it ends up yielding bigger books anyway. So it's like win-win-win all the way around for me. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a dealer. I'm an investor. I sell a lot of books, and I love the hobby. I love all the books. So that's sort of how I approach it.
All right. I want Jimmy to answer the question asked too, but I think I can say for all of us, we are not that guy that goes into the LCS and buys every copy of the book that just came out on New Comic Book Day. I think that's the guy everyone thinks of, and that's why they all call us dirty flippers, even though we're not that guy.
They're like, oh, we heard the news on this hot new book. We went and bought every copy off the shelf so nobody else can get any, and now we're selling them for $30 a piece on eBay.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say every. Like I because I want to be fair to people, right? Because there's people out there who want to read it and such. Like, yeah, but if I can make a profit, if I can pop into a store and I can pick up 2-3 copies, and there's if it's the last 2 copies, I'm not going to feel shame about it, because I got there before the other guy who's trying to do the same thing did. right? But again, I'm not gonna go grab a stack. And if you're a smart comic store owner, you're not gonna let people walk out with a stack, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to make sure that the other people have the ability to do it. I mean, unless you bought 1,000 copies and some guy comes out and with a stack of 20, it's like, okay, fine, I still have plenty for everybody else. But most cases, that's not usually the way it happens with smaller print run independents and such.
Yeah, and I don't go into LCSs ever unless I'm out of town. I want to check out a new LCS, but my LCS, I don't even go in there for anything. But I'll tell you, if I have an opinion on people who do that, I still don't think they're dirty flippers. Look, it's not. Look, I was at the grocery store in the middle of the COVID, like last year, right? And there are certain things that people were hoarding: toilet paper, paper towels, water, bottled water. The stuff that was not on the shelves, right? So I go in there one time, and luckily there was like 2 packages of something. It was like napkins or something. And there was an older guy walked up behind me. He's like, "Oh, they have a couple." And I was like, "Yeah, we got lucky." He's like, "Yeah, I guess you're gonna buy both." And I was like, under normal circumstances, I would buy 2 because I'd have a backup, but I'm only going to buy 1 if you want it. You know why? That's like more of a necessity. It's a life thing. Comics is a freaking luxury. I mean, they're freaking comic books, for Christ's sake. It's not, nobody needs them. If a comic store is willing to let somebody buy off the rack, that's on the comic store. If their customers get pissed, maybe they'll lose business. But if you're looking to buy something like comic books and you can buy 10 at a time to make $100 profit on each one, good for you. I don't have any problem with you doing that. I have a problem with comic stores letting customers do that because they're screwing all their other customers, and they ought to be punished for that by having people not there anymore. So
that's my point.
Even that out.
Yeah. If you're going to let people walk out with your whole inventory, then that's on you, man.
Yeah, look, the comic shops have stuff on the shelves for sale, and none of it's necessities. If you want to go in and buy out the whole store in one fell swoop, yeah, go for it. I mean, the comic store is there to make money, and if they can make it all off of you, fine. But, a responsible comic, if I owned a store, I would limit 1 per customer on that kind of stuff. And I would put stuff in dollar bins, and if it spikes and it's still in the dollar bin, you still get it for $1 because I'm just trying to move stuff. And I want people to feel like they come here, they'll be able to find the new books, and also they'll be able to score deals in the back issues, and it will generate a lot more traffic. So I wouldn't be pinching pennies or getting cheap as a shop owner. So I think all of these complaints are on the shops, not on the people who are out there. And a lot of people do this for a living to pay their bills too. You know what I mean? Like they got to live. This is what a lot of people do on a daily or weekly basis to make money. And, that's just what they do.
It's true.
We're all waiting for who to.
Yeah, see, he's going in here.
So, to your question, Will, about why I do what I'm doing. I mean, I'm 2 things. Number 1, I'm always trying to improve my collection, right? Overall, right? So if I see a copy of a good book that's a high grade, and I've got the money, I'm going to pick it up, right? Case in point, I got this guy not that long ago, right?
Constantine.
I did my due diligence on it, right?
Yeah, nice.
I looked, I checked over the book. It's got something going on over here on the spine that's a little interesting, right? It needs a press, but it's also got something that looks like a rippling from the actual manufacturing process. So, it's going to be a crapshoot, one way or another, but I'm still going to make money on it when I send it in and get it back because I paid $250 for it, and it's going to be between a 9.2 and a 9.4, somewhere in there, and I'm going to make money on it once it's actually graded out. And that was the point of me getting it in the first place was to be able to do that. So I put my investment into it, and then I'm going to get out of that something else. It's the same thing I did with this, right? So I'm actually going to go through some stuff that I got recently.
That showed up on the list they put out today. It's still the hot book.
I paid $50 for this book. Sent it in and got it graded. So I'm in it for about, let's call it 75, right?
It's
9.6.
9.8's like 800 somewhere.
Is it really?
Ridiculous, right? So we know the 9.6, a little bit lower. but I'm waiting until they actually start announcing, for the what was it, the Armor Wars show?
Yeah, that show
with Brody, and then I'm going to put this up, right? And I'm going to make, I'll make my cash on it. Also found this in the bin for $50.
Wow, that thing has popped recently, and it's like that nostalgia thing where people are of age now to buy it.
Yeah, I had a bunch of these 80s books, and I sold them all right before they popped, and I sold one to you, Jimmy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Came back in 96 too. I was super happy.
That was crazy. At the time, I didn't know that thing on the back was a production defect that was on so many of them. That's why I thought it was graded lower.
The bad cut at the top.
But it graded. Yeah, so that was good for you. I mean, I was happy with it too because I found it for like a couple bucks at a storage locker. But I had that. I had 3 G.I. Joe #1s, all 9.4, and I sold all that stuff like in January. And
it's crazy. I mean, even after they've done what 5-6 movies now, and they still now is when it actually starts going up because people get that nostalgia for 80s TV shows. But this is a $200, somewhere near $200 right now, right? So
crazy.
I got what I needed out of it, right? Spent $15 on this, right? First full Damian Wayne.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it?
So this is a $100 book. This came back lower than it was supposed to.
Nice.
So I picked it up from my buddy. For like I think I got it for $350.
Are you going to wait until people have seen the movie, or get it sold right before the movie opens?
Probably right before the opening. It's got some pressable stuff, so I'm thinking if I can get it to there was some reversion on this, but it also had some like harder crease lines that just kind of made it a little bit more difficult in the back. So if it works out, depending on the timing of the movie, I think just to get the bump, I may do this on a walkthrough at C2E2. All right, just press it out real hard, take it in, have them do it right there because it should give me about a 9. Because there's a small color break right up here, and that's really the worst thing on it. So I figured it was going to make a 9, and if I can get that, then this will double in price for me from where it is right now. So that makes sense for me. And then this is a book that I get every time I see it. This one's already sold, but
I love that book.
I paid $250 for this, and it's now worth I think 500 in this grade. So,
I want like a 9.6 or 9.8 of that book, and they hardly ever come up. And every time the price is 20% higher, and I feel like I may have missed the boat on that one. But
I have a pair of these. The 1 and 2, both in a 9.4. I sent this one and the other one in at the time, and this one came back in 8.5, and the other one came back in 9.4. So I was very happy because now I've got the linear set on the first Lady Death. So that was, for me, was just a great pickup. And I've got another one actually at CGC that I bought from the same store for $250, and that one should actually come back like a 9.0, 9.2.
So for my question though, what's your end game? Is just doing more and better of what you're doing in the end game, or do you want to be like the investor or something else?
So I treat my graded collection as a portfolio, right? And that's what's going to get passed on to my kids as an estate trust is the graded books. Right now, that portfolio, just of what I have graded, is over $150,000, right? And I have, I want to say, 6 short boxes of stuff I still need to have graded. And I've got like another 80 books at CGC right now that are like, I've got like 3 Star Wars #1s, 3 Marvel Premiere 15s. Some of those things I'm going to keep. Some I'm going to, use to flip to get, other books that are, on my hunt list. I've got a video that I'm going to do, or a live show that I'm going to do called The 60, and it's the 60 big key books that I'm going to be going after for the next, like, say 10 years, right? And I'm hoping to get like 5 books a year, and it just kind of as a preview, some of it, it's like Tales to Suspense 39, Tales to Astonish 27, like the big keys, the ones that are like a couple of grand in the entry level. and I've actually already been able to knock a couple of the books off of that list this year. So that's huge for me. But yeah, my end game is to keep reinvesting what I make off of these back into books that are not quite in my collection. You know, some I like to finish some runs, but yeah, I'm going after. I'm big game hunting right now. What about you, Hudat? What's your end game with your flip? I know you're late coming in and such, and I'm sure you can
hi.
talk to some of the other stuff.
Like for his end game, what you mean, like for my collection?
Yeah, specifically for your flipping activities.
The stuff that I purchased to buy, like I just try to upgrade, keep upgrading. So currently, I've been on this getting a lot of female characters for my daughter, so I've been knocking a lot of that out, and been getting that actually really good right now. And the price of those, every time I buy one, it seems like the price doubles or something. So I've been doing that on that end, but my end game is trying to get like the stuff that I'm flipping. I want to get what I like to call as big boy books, which is, you know, those big, like I already have it, but like FF1 type stuff. You know, our first Doctor Strange.
The major keys,
yeah, stuff that it doesn't dip often. It might lull, but you know, they might have a 1% gain at the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the books I want to get. So when I get like 70 or 80, I'll have my retirement, but also have my comic book retirement. So I can, you know, I can have fun with that, you know, and I could be like, oh yeah, I'm tired of that character. I can like, here you go, Heritage, you know, take that book, sell it, and you know, then when we get that money in, be like, hey baby, you want to go? Where you want to go for a vacation? You want to go to Greece? Okay, let's go. And because I love
funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because I kid you not, I just funded a Greek Isles tour with my wife that we're going on at the beginning of September on pressing money.
Nice. Yeah, really.
Like, this is my retirement, right? This is what I'm going to be doing. You know, like once I stop working, this is going to be my fun. Finding stuff like I'm going to be ETA Nick. That's what I'm going to be. I'm living in Florida, not far from CGC.
That's what I was kind of thinking. The same thing before you even said his name. I was like, I want to be the black ETA Nick. So I want to be that. I want to be that good in grading, so I can just be good at it, know what to do, know what for grading. I haven't started jumping into the pressing because I don't have the room for that, and it's not right now. It's not feasible for us because I don't have room for it. But I've been pretty good on modern grading, like as far as just looking at it,
picking the 9/8 out.
Yeah, picking the 9/8 out. Like a lot of like a lot of my unboxing videos. I'm not too off when I'm getting the modern books. Sometimes I get surprised on a book that is a modern. For it was like my first He-Man. I thought it was a little bit lower, and it came back at 9.6. So
I saw that video. That was fantastic, man. I was so happy for you.
Yeah, so it's like
mine's a 9.0. I still need a better copy.
Yeah, that was probably like my biggest score at that one shop in a while. But yeah, it's just like I want to get those modern books, and that's why I'll like, you know, CBCS on this note should always be. They should be like, quote should be the leader in modern grading, because with the 2-day modern, you can get it in, get it out. Yeah. It might. Let's say it sells 10% less than the CGC, but I can get I can get those back in a week. While even if you're getting them back in 3 months, you're
catching the market, right? You can still get the market, and that's the value there.
Yeah. So like they need to jump. I need to like message Steve Baraka and say, hey, y'all need to do something like this. Advertise y'all the King and Moderns or something from 1975 and up. And
I was talking to the guy Mike, who has the YouTube channel The Collective, and he was talking to Steve Borak, and like they were together at a show, and you know he was showing him the new case and stuff like that, and it's like all the great features of the new case. It's got like these two little tiny little air holes at the bottom, so if you start getting Newton rings, you just blast some air in there and it clears it out, and all this really great stuff that they put into their case design that literally no one knows anything about because they are absolutely terrible at marketing their own product. And that's their biggest failure, I think, in my opinion, is that they're not marketing themselves.
They don't have a good marketing. Yeah, they don't have a good marketing firm.
No.
Have you tried to open one of those brand new cases?
I haven't even actually seen the new case. That's why I really want to send like these 10 books out to CBC.
It's freaking bulletproof. It took me 20 minutes to open the damn thing. They have like different chambers in there where it locks into the other side. I mean, it's basically bulletproof. I can get in a CGC case in like 2 minutes. It took me 20 minutes to break into that new CBCS case.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I thought it was going to be a quick video. It wasn't.
Yeah, I watched you do that, and you know their slab. Once you got it open, I was like, "Holy crap!" Because the two parts of the slab fit together, but each part has an overhanging, like 1/4-inch thick plastic slab hanging off it, so it like doubles up on the sides. You have like 2 layers of super thick plastic. As it goes together, they slide together, and it doubles up on the side. So you can't go in through the side. It was insane, man. I watched you do that.
And when I saw that, and I know how tough their slabs are, I really want to, even though it'd probably be not financially at the moment, but I really want to send my Turtles magazine books whenever they do the magazines.
Yeah.
The CGC magazines are terrible.
I know. They're still old flimsy style. They upgraded everything else, and that's still like the 12-year-old case.
Like, dude, I was more nervous. I'm more nervous holding a CGC magazine than my newborn baby when I had it.
Yeah.
It was like, if I drop this that far off the ground, it's gonna crack. Like,
man,
it's
I feel bad for you guys that have the magazine size books, because literally the only option if you want it graded is CGC. There's no other competition. No one else has the ability to do it. CBCS,
in a couple of months.
Even PGX, who would love to be able to, even they don't have a good magazine holder case. And I'm looking here.
We'll see what CBCS look like. I think their CBCS is doing magazines as of September, October.
Yeah, they are modern is 172 days for CGC, and their economy pre-1975, it's 195 days right now on the turnaround.
And they're exact on that, because I sent my magazine Turtles in December, and I didn't get them back till last month.
I'm going to tell you right now, my last Ronins that I sent in that received February 26th, they are finally in grading and encapsulation. So that's 5 months.
How did they decide how they grade those? Because some people got those back 4 months ago. And so, like, some people haven't even gotten them back yet. And you're like, well, if I wanted to sell them, I can't sell them because half of the people got theirs back already, and everybody who wants them now has them.
I was looking those up. I'm like, oh, I finally got them back, and I'm like, wow, the price is really kind of in the toilet, because I sent in a first and second print. I'm like,
yeah, it's almost better to buy a raw copy of the last Ronin cover 8. Like, raw copies are still selling for like $50 or $60. So
well, I mean, I could still probably get like 160 out of it, right? But it was still like, it was definitely up around $200 or better before. So
there's a great opportunity that I noticed watching Comic Tom's video from today that they released, and I wanted to run it by you guys. Fortuitous, this was a flipping show. What do you think about that Alex Ross cover that has all the different Kangs on it? It's an Avengers book.
Yeah,
and it's was selling for 15. Now it's selling for 25 raw. But the only 9.8 that they could go off of was a $50 sale from a while back, because it just got hot recently. So anyone who sent it into CGC hasn't had the ability to get it back yet.
No.
But if you did 2-day modern on CBCS, you'd have it back. Right now it's running a little over a week. So, I mean, if you found some at a good price, would you go CGC 2 days?
Honestly, on that book, even if you went CGC, you won't get hurt because Kang is going to be here for a while. So, like, if somebody said, "I'll just go CGC," you're not going to miss the boat, but you're going to miss, maybe one of the boats. You're not going to miss the final boat, because that
everybody like Kang was like the first one to actually show up in a show that was a decent sized character, right? And he didn't even technically show up. It was a variant of Kang, and that was fantastic. Like Loki spoilers, by the way, but I really appreciated the way that they handled that. So to your point, Huda, yeah, I mean, Kang's going to be around for a while, and they're going to be touching on that character for a good period of time because he's supposed to fully debut in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and that's not coming out until 2023.
Yeah, that Kang is a good book.
But there's nothing special about it other than the cover. It's just a cool cover.
Yeah, I mean, the Avengers 8 is a really nice Kang key, obviously, first appearance, but that one has gone up so much in value now that I think anybody who buys one now is not wasting money, but you're buying it at a peak. Is it 10 years from now going to be higher than that? Probably. But next year, a year from now, I think the price will be lower than it is now because that book has skyrocketed. But Kang is an awesome character. Time traveler. He has so many different versions of himself that that character is tailor made for like an MCU multi-movie story arc. So he'll be around. Yeah.
So he has 4 more projects, and we only know of one, which is Ant-Man. So if he has 4 more projects in Ant-Man, he's supposed to appear in Ant-Man. They said appear. They didn't say he was an antagonist. They didn't say he was the major villain. Yeah. He, Jonathan Majors is going to appear as Kang and Ant-Man.
Well, he's probably going to appear in season 2 of Loki, right? So that's pretty much confirmed.
That's 2. So we have 2 more.
And
so
who knows
we can definitely expect ultimately an Avengers film.
That's what I was thinking. Would it be? Is it Young Avengers or New Avengers? What
Avengers
are we going to get? Yeah. But we're going to get another Avengers movie within the next 3 years, and he is the big bad.
What happens though is Avengers 8 is not a rare book even for Silver Age, unless you get in the higher grades. You get it above 7, 7,
higher
5.
Grade,
But all these 3.0s and 2.5s and 4.0s, they are going to flood the market. They already are, and people who want it right away will get it, and the price will settle back down before resuming its uphill slope. So I think if you just want like a VG copy, I would just hold off for a while. But I mean, ultimately, you never know. Like Thanos, Iron Man 55. Man, that book was in the dumps for like all of this year. Really, it's picked up along with everything else. But I mean, that book was expensive during the Thanos appearances and everything. And then it was just after that, it just fell back off into the dumps below what I think it was worth because it's always been a solid bronze key. I think Kang might follow the same pattern. Yeah, that's a
nice grade.
See, that's why I want to get to the point where I'm a comic investor. Because I can buy the Kang book now if I find a good deal, and I can afford to wait the 5 to 10 years when it's the time to actually sell it. That's one reason why I want to get to that point.
I bought that book knowing the trajectory of Marvel. This is at the time where people were buying Annihilus, following somebody else who's bought a ton of them.
Somebody else's bullshit spec, like Mephisto showing up in WandaVision.
Yeah, and Annihilus didn't make sense for me. It didn't make sense for me right now. It makes sense for me later on when Fantastic Four is fully integrated. But Kang made more sense because he's, he fought the Avengers. He's in a lot of Avengers stuff. And when they started doing time travel, I said, it has to be Kang the next entry level. So I bought that Kang from person who usually never give you deals. He never gives you deals, but I got it for super low price from Dale Roberts. I don't know if any of you guys bought from Dale Roberts. He really doesn't. He doesn't. He give you my $5 off.
$25 on the Batman 227 I bought off him.
He'll give you a couple dollars off. Like I saved on tax. But
exactly. You paying with a card? All right, man, I can't do it.
So I bought it off his website. And it was the old CBCS label and that's why, like, some of these dealers, like, they gotta get better at these pricing with CBCS because it was really cheap for a 6.5. And I was like, if you're gonna price it at the price of a 4.0 CGC, I'll take it. And I was actually thinking of cross grading it, but I was like, I'll just leave it alone because if that character really pops and people really want that book, I don't have a lot invested into it. So if
you don't want to wait that long.
Yeah, but 6.5 is selling for $4,000 and I sell it for $3,500. Somebody says, "Oh, you sell CBCS way cheaper than CGC." I'm like, yeah, but I only had like $500 into it.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is cash right now. Like, I can get the other cash at the end, but I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all want to get mad? Check this out. I was at Dragon Con the first year I ever went, I think, And I saw an Avengers 8, and I was thinking to myself, hey, Kang would be a great villain for MCU. They're probably going to use him next, I bet. And I passed on the book. It was a little bit worse grade than the one that Who Dat has, and it was raw. And the price on it was $50. I wish I had bought that book.
You don't even want to hear the time that I lost out on a Journey into Mystery 83. We're not going to talk about that today. It's a show for a different time.
Yeah, but see, this is why, like, yeah, you can, if you have the foresight, you can pick up, if you know the Marvel Universe, and you can, you know, speculate what characters might be good, what will have good uses, where they're going, and you can go pick that stuff up. But that's a good plan. I don't really consider that spec. That's sort of like spec backing up an intrinsic value book anyway.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to pick up an Avengers 8, you already got a solid intrinsic value book. It's a nice key. It's an early Avengers. There's always going to be people that want that book. If you think there might be a little spec with Kang also, all the more reason. But you can't go wrong with that. But some of this stuff, like just pure spec, I don't do that, because then it spikes and then it drops back off. And what you're left with is a book that doesn't really have much intrinsic value anyway, and you got to time your selling much more carefully. But Avengers 8, man, that's an intrinsic book and maybe some spec. That's an awesome book to pick up.
I looked up. I went to Dale Roberts' website because I wanted to see if they keep track of your order items, and they do. So I bought an Avengers 8, that CBCS 6.5 for $599.
Nice.
And it was an old label to the old CBCS label. And then
Do they have another 6? Are they selling another 6.5 right now?
No, but they sold a 4.0 ungraded, and I bought that for $275.
Nice.
So I was buying Kang. This was in 2020. This is early 2020, like during the pandemic stuff, I guess. But I bought those from him early, and I bought an Avengers Annual 10 for $90, a 9.0.
Nice.
So I was buying those like books, like kind of like you said, you kind of know where they're going, so it's not really spec. It's not like the saying like I expect it's not a spec, because it's not at that point yet, because they didn't cast Kang yet. But as soon as they cast him, people should have been like, oh crap, let me get this book, because it hadn't jumped just because of the casting. Because it didn't jump when they cast Jonathan Majors, who, as people saw, is a great actor. So,
oh my God, he's incredible.
Dude, his aneurysm, his facial, all the stuff he was doing, I was like, I'm watching Loki, like, I'm watching the Loki show, and I'm like, dude, I said, don't kill him. I was like, just don't kill him. And you know that was going to happen.
Well, you know, at the time that I watched it, I didn't realize that was the guy that was cast as Kang, because for some reason I got in my head that the guy who played Dr. Manhattan on Watchmen was who they cast as Kang. So I'm looking at this guy like, oh, that's not Kang. And I was bored watching that last episode. I was like, this is just dragging on, man. Come to something, right? Where's some conclusions? But now it's like, okay, that, like once they drop the bomb at the end of the show, right? With the statue of Kang and the Time Bureau, or whatever it's called, the Time Authority. Like, then it's like, oh shit. But it was just like, I don't know. It was just, there was a lot of lead up. Yeah, there was a lot of lead up. I think that they probably could have cut a little bit of that out. It was just a little too much dialogue, I thought, just
but
for that.
Man, you can go back and watch older videos of Who Dat and even DS and so some of the other guys and all, and you'll know if you know books, if you know the books, if you're in the hobby because you love to read them and they mean something to you, you'll be able to follow the trail and know, okay, well, this will probably come next, and then this will probably come. Like, we would be buying FF Annual 6 now because we know at some point it's going to be big because it's a double key, and both the reasons it's a key are very good. There's
a lot of people that just have no idea who Annihilus is.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that have no idea, that they had a kid, because they didn't see they saw the other movies and they didn't have a kid, right? So unless you actually read the comics, and Franklin was the kids, I shit you not, perpetually 8 years old, for like literally 40 years. He's 8 years old.
Power Pack.
Yeah.
That's a dollar bin book. That would be a book to probably pick up now too.
Because they're gonna do Disney Plus. They're gonna do Disney Plus on that.
Yeah.
Like,
They're definitely going to be Disney Plus
they got-
or Hulu. But, you know,
Yeah.
and then what a lot of people, I think, are starting to really kind of realize is that Marvel has been immense in Bronze Age horror for a very long time. And with, yes, they poorly did Hellstrom, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of huge areas that can really be developed in. They're already doing a Blade movie because Blade can't not be a movie, right? It can't be it can't not be cinematic, right? Wesley Snipes did it for 3 films and killed it, right? It was awesome. All 3 of those movies I thought were solid. Yeah. Even the third movie, everybody hates in the third movie. I thought it was great. I thought Ryan Reynolds was awesome in that movie as Hannibal King, right? Because he was funny. It made it funny. Yeah, the Dracula thing was kind of weak, but it was still enjoyable. But there are so many horror, Marvel horror books, right, that are out there, and they're gonna do them. I mean, they have to, right? That's a whole untapped area, But they are starting to heat up.
Yeah, I would. The thing I was going to say, having said, I agree with what you're saying and everything, but I would say the danger of flipping is if you're not careful, you'll get cash strapped, and I had that be a problem for a long time. Like when they first did the big announcement where they were announcing we're going to do Captain Marvel, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. When they first did that big announcement, I went out and I bought Marvel Superheroes number 12, number 13, Miss Marvel number 1, and all that. But then it was a few months later, after getting them graded, I had to sell them because I was cash strapped. I had all this money. I bought books. I got them graded. Now I'm waiting and I have no money. So when they come back, I have to sell them to get some money. Yeah. And, so you got to be careful and make sure you don't get cash strapped like that, because then you're just going to dig yourself into a hole and keep digging. So make sure
I had that same issue come up recently. I had a couple of massive Grail books presented to me, and I didn't have the cash. So I had to end up selling some books prematurely. I sold that first Silver Surfer, the Submariner number 1. I sold the All New Marvel Now .1 first, Kamala Khan. I've been holding on that one until that one really spikes up, right? Which it hasn't yet. So if you can still get that one raw, pick it up.
It will soon because the show
it's cash all day. Yeah, but I sold those 2 books, and those were, I think I made. It was like $3,200 of the purchase power that I had for getting those 2 books. But it was 2 books that never going to come around again, right? I mean, they're ridiculous. That's for another show.
It really hurts now though, because I bought that Miss Marvel 1 for like $10, and I got it graded for like 20, and it was like a 9.4, 9.6. And even after all the crap that Captain Marvel went through, like because of Brie Larson and all that, the value that it's at now, I lost so much money.
So I want to say something. I can't blame Brie Larson for anything that has to do with Captain Marvel. That is, number 1, the public and their bullshit. And number 2.
Yeah, I agree. But that was an issue that a lot of people had, and it caused fluctuations in the price. But I totally agree. I actually think the movie was just fine. I don't like her politics, but hey, if she does a good job in the movie, I have no reason to hate the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with the person or the character or anything else that has to do with it. But I got this highlighted up here. Who did Emilia Clarke get cast as?
No one knows.
I don't even know who Emilia Clarke is.
She's Mother Dragon from Game of Thrones. Yeah. She was Daenerys Targaryen.
Oh, they're talking about her being Skrull Queen.
Squirrel Girl?
No, not Squirrel Girl.
That it's nothing's been shown yet, but that's what they're thinking.
It only makes sense because they're like, what characters can she play in Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Was she cast for Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Oh no, who is that? The love interest of Johnny Storm from back in the 70s. Johnny dated a Skrull. And I actually just saw some.
Layla or something like that was her name. She was like the princess or something.
Yeah. I think it's Lila. Yeah, Lyla, something like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting to find out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna
TV likes Brie Larson too.
Yeah, I was gonna see if you wanted to hear my 3 categories for flipping that have nothing to do with movie spec because
Absolutely.
Because the movie is great and people can make money off it, and you guys all follow it. I don't have Disney Plus. I don't read the news, so I'm not doing any flipping on movie spec at all, really. And you can still make money. And
We've been hitting a lot of different topics, right? So, like movie spec is obviously definitely one of the ones that drives market. New books coming out and heating up for various reasons, but yeah, intrinsically, old books are gonna keep popping and rarity and such. So yeah, DS, take it away, bud.
Yeah, so like I said, though, we were just talking about it, like with Will saying how he sold it too soon before it peaked, or you had to get rid of those 2 books that weren't ready to be, they weren't ripe yet, basically. The timing is key when you're doing movie and show spec. But if you're just doing intrinsic value books, basically you can look for 3 categories and just look for books with intrinsic value where it doesn't matter when you sell it. If you buy it, when you sell it, you'll make more money, and you don't have to worry about timing. It's just, if the turnaround times are a week or 17 weeks, you're just going to be annoyed how long it takes, but it won't affect the selling of it. And so 3 things I look for. One is books that are either underpriced or undergraded. And you can find those on my comic shop and eBay predominantly. You can also find older slabs that can be cracked and pressed. Anything that you think is undergraded or underpriced by a seller, that's just an easy, quick flip. You find a key like a Iron Fist 14, or like the X-Men 107 that's undergraded or underpriced. All you do is you clean it up, you get it slabbed, you resell it, and you make money. It doesn't matter the timing. Another nice category I like is I call it the slab spread, where there's books that are high grade 9.8 candidates that are dirt cheap raw, but are like 10 times the value when they're graded. And that's stuff like, like an ASM 361 or those Marvel Milestones I showed. You can pick those up dirt cheap raw. All you have to do is get it in a slab at a 9.6 or 9.8, and it's like 10 times your money. And those you can just crank out. Now you just have to do a lot of searching to find them. Yeah. And those 2 categories can generate a lot of cash, a lot of turnaround, a lot of books. And then you don't have to worry, did I hold it long enough? Or you're not waiting on news, you won't miss anything. And then the 3rd category for bigger stuff is you can just buy keys with momentum, and you can just ride the train for a little bit. It's not like a daily or a weekly flip, but it's like over the course of maybe 6 months, or sometimes only 3 months, maybe 8 months. And you can buy bigger books that have momentum, and you can just buy them at fair market value and just hold them and ride the train for a little bit and then get off the train. The momentum trading is good for bigger books, because if you just make 10 or 15% on it, you're talking on a $5,000 book, you can make $500 to $1,000 profit. You don't need much movement. You just buy books with momentum. Strange Tales 110, Avengers 1, X-Men 1 for a while, FF5. Those are massive books, but you can find smaller versions of that. Iron Fist 14, you can buy a 7.5 of that, ride the train for a couple months, and get off for 15-20% profit. So those are the 3 categories that I use that are not timing sensitive.
Yeah,
right on.
I think I like that.
Yeah, thanks,
that's why I want to be the investor where I don't have to worry about timing.
I don't have Disney Plus, and I don't read the news. So what I'm doing I have no idea half the stuff you guys are talking about. Only way I know about it is from you guys and the community, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I would have no idea anything about Kang if you all weren't talking about it, sort of. You know what I mean? Because I don't even have Disney Plus.
Yeah. And what's so funny is you don't have to have Disney Plus or even watch the movies, but you have Instagram.
Yeah,
and
right.
You can follow. You can see what goes on. That could be your news outlet. And the thing about the movie, like you're missing the thing. Marvel gives you a calendar. They give you a slate. And they tell you what is going on.
Yeah.
You like a monkey who does sign language could do this because they tell you, all right, where's the shows we have coming up? Oh, Ironheart. Let me get the first appearance of Riri Williams because they have that slated a little bit down the road. Oh, like Iron War, like Armor Wars. Oh, let me see what that's going on. Who are some first appearances that could fight Rhodey? Ooh, let me look up that stuff. They give you the track record, and you just have to pay attention. Kevin Feige lays it out for us. He doesn't hide it. He doesn't hide it for
He definitely do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying for
there
people
might
like
be a
if
few
you do
people-
both, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few people out there like me that aren't interested in that, and I'm just trying to let them know there is hope. You can still do flipping and make money and invest in all this. You don't have to keep up on that. But if you're going to, that's a great
that's what I was
way.
saying. That's what I was trying to say is like don't like for other people that do. I love the way how you explain it, but for people not to be afraid to go that route because I know Marvel side, not for us DC, but I know Marvel lays it out for you. Just pay attention. They stuff got delayed because of COVID, but they've been keeping on the rails for all of the stuff.
Yeah.
So if people want to get in the game and say, oh, let me look at X-Men stuff because Kevin Feige said 5 years from now X-Men are gonna be introduced.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see what X-Men stuff I can get that's relatively really cheap because a lot of X-Men
Wikipedia, find out who the big players are.
Yeah.
Find out the major characters in their first appearances.
Yeah,
But,
and honestly,
if I can finish this up with any like major piece of advice to anybody out there, don't go cash deep on anything that you don't know about. If you don't know for a fact that you're going to turn a revenue, don't go cash deep real hard on it, right? Dip your toe in, check it out first.
Yeah. What I try to do now is when I buy something, it's at a price that I know I could make a profit on if I sold it the next day. $1 is a profit, even if it's just $1.
Sure.
I try to make sure that when I buy it, I make my money when I buy it. I only get it later when I sell it. That's what I try to do now to make sure I don't pay $10 for a $5 book.
I buy 90% of everything I get raw because I know that number one, I can grade it and make a profit, right? I have to look at what that profit's going to be, so I have to know how to grade, right? Because obviously that's the entire game is knowing what the grade's going to be when you buy it raw. You can buy stuff already slabbed and hold on to it for a bit and be like, okay, yeah, this is going to go up because spec is coming or whatever the case is. But I like I said before, I don't do spec, right? I buy what I know I can sell or increase in value.
Yeah, I don't even honestly don't do spec. I do spec that's not a spec. I know that if something's cast and something is coming out, I know that I can make a profit on that if I get it at a low end like the Avengers 8, like I showed, and like DS was telling you, know your history. Know your history of DC, Marvel, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Know your history because I just bought a book that I thought to me it felt like it's relatively cheap. And it might have been it might have been a good deal, might have been not a good deal. But I think it was the 4th appearance of Spider-Man. What is that? Strange Tales Annual 2.
Yeah.
I know the
third Spider-Man.
Yeah, so it's like a very early Spider-Man appearance, like 3rd or 4th appearance.
Third,
that I got for $175, and it was he graded a 3.0, and I'm like, it looked like a 3.5. Maybe a little bit better if you clean it up and press it and stuff. And I was like, I thought that was a good deal because early Spider-Man stuff, like that's an easy sell, and I like the book, like Spider-Man. So it's like even if I didn't sell it, still at least it's something I like.
Well,
if you're looking to sell it, I'm looking for a copy.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I've noticed a resurgence, maybe not a resurgence, an emergence of interest in Silver Age square bounds, annuals, and whatnot. And it was for a while just like a couple keys here and there. But there's people looking to put together runs, and they're just picking up these Silver Age square bounds, and all of them have something cool about them. And I think all those annuals, they're tough to find in good shape. If you find even something like mid-grade even, it's a gem for those square bound Silver Age. Those are all good investments. And like, who that's saying? You got like the 3rd ever Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Man book. It's a square bound. There's less of them. They're in less good shape out there. Man, that's gold, man, all day long. Any of these square bounds, especially a Spider-Man on the cover, or a crossover, and another title or something, early appearance. Man, that's just gold. You don't even have to worry about it. You can just put it in a box for a year, bring it out if you want, and boom, instant profit. That's like 0 risk on these square bounds. I'm telling you, people are going nuts over the square bounds quietly. It's not being noticed. But you pick any of these square bounds, and people are buying them up in claim sales. People are searching for them at cons, and they're just growth books. Man, they're great.
Those early annuals, 9 times out of 10, they all have something going on.
Yeah, they do.
The first 3 Fantastic Four annuals are all major keys, right?
Yeah.
You got your origin of Submariner, you got your origin of Doctor Doom, you got the wedding of Reed and Sue, and then was it 5 is I don't know what happens in 4, but 5 is first Psycho Man,
and also
6
solo Silver Surfer story. First solo
Silver Surfer story prior to Silver Surfer #1, and then 6 is Annihilus and Franklin Richards, right? And I forget what 4. Something happens in 4. I forget what it is, but
I think the basic gist of what we're all saying here is to do it well, you need to know how to grade.
mm-hmm.
You need to know the books, as in the story, what happens in the stories. And then third, you need to know the books, as in, a square bound from 1969 and better than a 5.5 condition is a pretty rare thing because of, just the fact of how it was built and put together. So, I mean,
and get your tools, do your research.
Yeah, FF Annual #6 is a great buy to me because of those reasons. It's a square bound. It's first Annihilus and first Franklin Richards, who we think everyone knows about them, but that's because we live in this comic book community. No one outside of this community knows who the hell Annihilus is or Franklin Richards.
Well, if you want to know about Annual 6, just go to Very Gary's channel. He's got like 18 copies of it.
But sports card collectors have no idea who Franklin Richards are.
No. I'll tell you.
I'm shut this down here. So Oh, sorry, DS. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say a lot of people aren't as knowledgeable as our community. Like, I don't even follow this stuff, and I know a lot of it just from the posts that you guys put out on Instagram and stuff. But all you have to do if you want to stay ahead of the general comic collecting population is just sit through the credits on Marvel movies and see what's in the end part there. They throw that little teaser out, and then you saw the Cocoon, pick up Warlock keys. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, who that's saying?
Those still sleeping on Warlock, man.
Those Warlock keys are still cheap, man.
They're still cheap. Like, I can't believe I
got a Thor 165 and an FF 67, both like 8085, both white pages too. And I'll just sit on those. Now that's like DS movie spec because I mean, that's intrinsic value. It's a massive character.
And I think that happened. That happened years ago. Like, so it's eventually when James Gunn comes back to do Marvel.
Yeah, that's like slam dunk material. But I'll tell you, a lot of people don't know that was at the end of the movie and don't even have any idea. And they'll be blown away when Warlock's announced. Like, oh my God, I need to go run out and get those. Like, it's on the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's right there.
Yeah, and everybody was specking on it right when that came out, but then James Gunn gets fired, and then it just goes right down into the toilet.
Yeah, but if you know Marvel history, Marvel Comics history, Warlock is a major character. He's not a minor.
He should have been there a lot earlier. He should have been there. He should have been in 2 instead of Ego.
I mean, nobody will tell you that Warlock's a minor character in the Marvel Universe. Anybody's read comics, Warlock is a major character in Marvel. Sort of like Silver
MCU
Surfer, like 48 was in the dumps for so long. Like, first appearance of Silver Surfer, that's a massive character. And for a long time, nobody was buying FF48s. It's since caught on. But I mean, massive characters, big characters, that keys are still low priced. Pick those up. You don't even have to worry about movies, but a lot of them are going to end up in movies anyway, so they're good to pick up. Some are still
I have found
you can even buy those graded right now and make a profit. Because I was looking at graded prices just recently, and I was like, why does that seem so cheap for a Thor? Was it 160? Was it
165?
Yeah, I saw 4.0, and I was like, man, I thought that would be at least like $600. You know, I'm like. It's not even $500.
Well, I like Warlock for buying stuff that's on the cheap, and I also like the old FF for buying stuff that hadn't even really popped up yet. Everyone's focusing seems to be on like the X characters, but that's a ways away. I think we'll probably get FF before X characters.
Well, FF got announced before, so we're gonna get that years.
Everybody knows. Everybody's expecting that Doctor Doom is going to be the big one, right?
Yeah, I know.
So they're holding on to it.
There's so many other books.
Yeah, but I mean, you could go pick up the first appearance of the Watcher. That's a major character, and things are cheap. In the early FF,
nobody's going after that book.
I mean, you can.
I've got 3.
FF is loaded with keys.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The first 50 issues or 50
Yeah,
53 issues
52.
are just
I've
It's
got
just-
three right here. Let me just rattle this off to you guys. You tell me what you think on how I did. I bought an FF20. That's first Molecule Man.
Molecule Man. Yeah.
I paid $185 for the book and paid $33 to get it graded. It's a 4.5. DS actually is the one that pressed it.
That's a good book.
Yeah, I think I did pretty good on that, especially for the potential value that it's most likely going to have. I did a FF47. I paid $57 to get it graded. That must have been a fast pass or something. And I bought it for $33. And that's a minor key too. It's Black Bolt's brother.
There's people. Also, there's run collectors. There's people putting together a 1 to 100,
people as well.
1 to 100 of X-Men, 1 to 100 of ASM. Those are in demand.
The last one is I paid $194 for it, and I paid $57 to get it graded and pressed and everything. And that's FF11.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. First Impossible Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
good stuff.
Low numbered book too. The
I
only
gotta
one
shut this down, guys. I gotta head out, but I want to pass this around, so I'm gonna let everybody give their final words. We'll start with you, DS. Parting comments.
Parting comments. Yeah, be patient, and if you're trying to make money with comics, you don't have to spend money every day. Just be patient. Look for deals. It's okay to spend fair market value on stuff if you think it has momentum. Look for stuff that's undergraded and undervalued and has momentum. And then don't be afraid to take a risk. You're not going to win all the time. There's going to be losses along the way, but that's your education in the hobby. You have to pay for your education in every area of life. Take some risk, see how it works out, learn from it. And, if you keep with it, it's not difficult. This is not rocket science.
Nope, not at all. Will, what do you got?
Learn to grade, learn the stories, learn the books themselves. You'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
Because Big Will said they said basically everything, but don't be afraid to ask others questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions to other people. Like I know ETA and Nick in the past has said, hey, if you have a question about grading, email me, send me pictures. Or a lot of us are on Instagram. Don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of people might be afraid to get into things and buy things, and they don't want to ask others questions. And always just ask them, man. You never know what response you're going to get. The worst you can get is a negative response, and you just know not to ask that person again. But don't be afraid to ask questions, and like you're going to have losses. Don't dwell on the losses.
Yeah.
You're gonna have losses, what I call are actually wins, which meaning you made money on stuff, but like 6 months later it triples. So don't dwell on that either, because you can get hung up on past events and forget that you made a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So move profit along to other things and just keep it moving. Do not look back and ask questions. That's basically the best things I can say.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And my parting comments are: information is key. Do the research, find the tools, keep working at it. If you missed out on a book, move on, right? Like Hudat said, move on. If you profited, you profited. If you didn't profit, then dump it and go after something else. But that's all the time we got. Thanks everybody for watching the Dirty Flippers, and we will catch you next time.
See you guys.